Hello, Facebook world. How's it going? How are you? I'm not sure how this is going to go because we're live and it's always super exciting when we're live, but the internet has been a little disruptive ever since the ice storm. So I apologize, but you know the drill. Well, if you've been here before, you totally know the drill. If you've been here before, show me all the hearts. I want to see you mash that heart button and like what we are doing right now. So go ahead, do it. I see you joining. Thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. I see those hearts starting to come through. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Excellent. And if you've never joined in one of these live events before, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Show me all the thumbs up that you can show me right now. Excellent. I see you. I see you. Very, very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so you've asked, several of you are starting to kind of be like, okay, what now? We are getting our feet under us with the apps and the curriculum, but what else can we do to supplement, things like that? Hi, Lisa, I see you. Hi, Cami. You guys are so awesome. Thank you again for being here. Yes, I see you, Andrea. I see you guys. You are awesome. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so again, I see your heart, Cami. You are awesome. Okay, so I've got a great panel here with me today. I have got Madison Griffin, instructional coach extraordinaire, and then very special guest, I've got Tatum Barnes with me today. Tatum is my daughter, and we're talking about some of these apps. I feel like she's been a guinea pig for Epic for so many years. And so I thought, we'd just go straight to the horse's mouth and find a student who's used some of these things. So again, thank you so much for being here. If you've got questions, hi Dustin, how's it going? If you've got questions, you know where to put them. Put them in the comment box for me. And ask Madison, ask Tatum, ask myself. We will be here. But for now, I want to introduce my panel. So Madison, actually, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. How long have you been here, and what is your role at Epic Charter School?
All right, my name is Madison Griffin, and this is my 4th year with Epic. I was a teacher my first 2 years. Last year, I was an instructional coach, and this year I have moved to the director of teacher development. So now I help train our teachers. So kind of went from students to lesson planning to then now teaching the teachers. So it's a great move, and it's been a great year so far.
Yes, and this is a great question. The host of the show, Tatum, said, wait a minute, are you a horse or a guinea pig? I called you a guinea pig when it came to curriculum, but I said we were going straight to the horse's mouth. And so we'll even it out. Tate, how long have you been with Epic Charter School?
I've been here for about 9 years.
Awesome. And you did 8 straight years, right? And then you went to the local brick and mortar up the street, and now you're back.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of made you come back to Epic?
Well, Epic kind of had these curriculums that were best for kids with dyslexia and just ones that are best for me. And so it's a lot easier to be on track and know everything at Epic.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And let me see here. Shantae, good afternoon to you too, Queen. I am so happy that you are here. And we do have questions coming. But before we get to those questions, Madison, talk to me about all of the choices that we have. Not only do we have these core curriculum options that they're going to get math and English and science and social studies, but talk to me about some of these apps that we're going to be discussing today. Why do we need to supplement with apps?
Yeah, so we We have a list that I put together this morning that kind of links to Apple and Google Play, and we'll share that in the comment section. It's just a spreadsheet. So you don't feel like you need to write down everything that we talk about today. You'll have kind of a quick reference guide. And this is by no means like an end-all be-all list. This is just a handful that we have used with our students. So the need for apps and the need to supplement is because we each have different ways that we learn. And while we have several curriculum options, sometimes, it might not cover math as fully as we might need, or it doesn't really cover enough reading comprehension, or maybe your student has exempted out of Epic Essentials, but you still want them to be doing something that's less less time, but something that they can just do a couple of times a week or something like that. So apps are just a really good way to fill some of the gaps with our learning, but also with our time. If you feel like your student is getting through their work very quickly and you feel like they should be doing a little bit more, an app is a great thing to include into that. Maybe it's a warm-up. Maybe you use it as a treat. Some of these, especially for our little kids, our younger grades, are more game-based. And so maybe that's their incentive to finishing, logging into their curriculum and doing well on their quizzes. Maybe they get 10 minutes on one of the apps. So we have quite a lengthy list, and they cover various subjects. A lot of them are for our littles because they are learning to read and learning those basic foundations, but we do have a few that we've kind of recommended for our older middle school and high school students. And like I said, some of them are just game-based. So we have Khan Academy Kids, which if you have middle school and high school students, you've probably utilized Khan Academy, the website, or their videos on YouTube. They're awesome. They really break it down for our kids, for our students really well. The Khan Academy Kids app is more of a pathway. And it is, like I said, more of a game. And so they're able to sign in right off the bat. I kind of went through a little bit of it this morning to refresh my memory from teaching days. But it starts off as you start to learn counting, and then it unlocks kind of a library of lessons that then you can jump into stories that are read to your student, and they get to answer questions. There's nursery rhyme songs, there is basic math. It goes up to age 7, so it does start to get into higher addition and subtraction. It's a lot of manipulative, so it's fun for kids to be able to move their screen around and sort items into different categories. And so it's very similar to some of our other apps like Teach Your Monster to Read, which also is very interactive and manipulative. So if you have kiddos who are just needing a little bit of extra time in those areas, those are 2 really great apps that do have that manipulation, and they're available on both Apple and Android, iPad and regular phone. So those are 2 great options for your little kiddos.
Awesome. And we have linked that. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
We have linked your spreadsheet into the comments so that anybody who wants to click on this and get some more information within them, you can. What she's done is awesome. She's put the price point. Some of them are free. Some of them have a freemium option where they're free at first, but you might have other ads that play, or it's free for 30 days. And so what Madison has done is take some of that heavy lifting and some of that guesswork out for you, and I love it. And not only do we need to cover some standards that may be lacking in a few places, which you said, but like in 0 curriculums I know of are the independent reading and independent writing standards covered. And so that's where apps like Myon and AR come into place, so that we can ask students to read books, and all of your kids should be reading books. Now, Michelle has a question. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna hop into it. Michelle says, I would love, nope, wrong question. Here we go. Michelle says, where did Michelle's comment go? Did you delete it, Michelle? I'm going to go back over here because, Michelle, it was a great question. It says, what's the average amount of time that a student should spend on the computer doing just their classes? her kiddo spends 8 hours a day doing one chapter or 6 hours a week, and they're behind and they're pacing. And Michelle, this is one of the best questions that we can get when it comes to curriculum, core, apps, time, all of it. And I might come to you in just a second with this, so be thinking. But I would consider your kiddo, until you get your feet wet, they would be in that traditional setting for an hour per class. And so I would definitely consider 6 hours about a minimum on a high school student. Now, we do have ways that we can change things around just a little bit. A lot of kids, depending on your kiddo, and especially people when we start talking about attention issues, a lot of kiddos do well on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule. And honestly, that's going to set them up for collegiate success as well. And so maybe you do math on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as well as reading and English on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And your Tuesday, Thursday is more social studies and science based. Again, it's up to you to find the best mix for it. But Michelle, to answer your question as blanketly as possible, and blanketly, is that an adverb? I've never used it like that before, but if I could throw a blanket on it, I would say an hour per subject. Now, Tatum, you have been with Epic for a while. About how many hours a day would you say you spend on that schoolwork?
Like you said, just about 6 hours, but all of it together on the computer, I've got like a couple, like, sorry. I've got different curriculums that are on the computer or they're on paper. On the computer, I spend about like 4 hours a day on, and then on paper, I spend about 2 to 3 hours on each day. So it just kind of depends on what you're doing.
Awesome. And I love that you said online and offline both right there, because that is so true. And what you've just identified is 7 hours approximately of schoolwork. But here's the thing. If you know your kiddo works a little bit slower, it could be a little bit more than that. Or maybe you bring it down to 5 hours a day, but you incorporate Saturdays in your plan. Really, with the personalized approach to education that Epic offers, you've got a lot of options and a lot of variables that you can throw in there, as well as if you've got one subject in particular that is just taking so much longer than you think it should, ask your teacher about maybe substituting it with a different option. And so, there's lots of different ways we could answer that, but the biggest blanket thrown on top as possible, about 6 hours a day. Nicole wants to know more about Classcraft. Is there something the teacher has to set up? My third graders tried to get onto it today, but didn't understand where the learning comes into play. And so, Nicole, yes, the teacher does have to set up a class for you in there. It's super easy. And we can talk with your teacher about it if they haven't yet. But it's definitely something, if you want to use it, you need to let your teacher know so your teacher can set up that pathway for you. Epic has done an amazing job at putting together these stories for your kids to kind of work through their math, their science, their English. And it's in this game mode or a story mode. And so it makes learning a little more engaging, a little more fun. It is reading heavy though, so all of you should know that. Let me see here. Elizabeth wants to know, addition of esports, will you guys end up adding other games such as Minecraft? And as of right now, Elizabeth, the games we're using are the most widely competitive games. When we talk about competing against other schools and competing against other states, we've chosen the games that are most widely played competitively. And that's what makes it a sports. And if you go and look, there are colleges doing esports now, and it is considered a sport that your kiddo plays. I'm actually not sure if they have to go through the NCAA clearinghouse because it is officially a sport now, or if that isn't an option. I'll dig and let you know on that. But for right now, the games that are in there are the most competitively played games. And so I hope that that helps answer your question. Tatum, your teacher, Lisa, has joined us, and she says, hi, Tate. Very good. So Madison, talk to me real quick. We've got apps that Epic supports and pushes through the Clever, but then we've got apps that are not Epic. And it doesn't mean that Epic can't use them, but the app list that you've put together here, those are largely outside of the Epic offerings. Am I correct?
Yes, they are. And so if you're planning on utilizing some of these, you can share your information with the teacher, screenshot somehow to give the data and what your student's completing to your teacher. But yeah, they're just extra additional support. Two of them on here are for reading books, which is an app for ages 2 to 8. Will read stories to your kiddos. And then the Hoopla app, which will link to your library card, gives you access to both Audible audiobooks as well as paper books, but it will obviously be in a virtual format that you can check out. And I think you have them for about 3 weeks before they leave your app and go back to the library. And so those are two great apps for various age levels to get some of that independent reading time, or if a story, a novel, pops up on your student's curriculum and you don't have the paperback book, and while the questions don't necessarily need for you to read the whole book, but you would like your student to read the book, you can always check to see if it's on the Hoopla app to check out. And it's a free app, and like I said, it just links to your local library, which is awesome, and another reason why we should love and support our local libraries.
Yes. And now, Tatum, you've used a few different reading apps. I know that you've had some of your books on Audible, right? We've done a chapter where you listen to a chapter, and we've done a chapter where you have to read the chapter, and we go back and forth that way. But you mentioned yesterday your favorite app that is Epic supported. What is your favorite reading app that you've used here at Epic?
Probably Reading Plus. Reading Plus is really like fun to use, and it's different than most apps. It has you read this story on the computer, and it's got this thing that it's really hard to explain, but it's kind of like a bar, and it only allows you to see a couple of words, and you kind of have to follow along, so you're reading at a certain pace, and then you answer questions afterwards, and that'll help the app kind of it'll help the app kind of know how fast you read and do what?
Yeah. So you've got, go ahead, Madison.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, Reading Plus is great. And it's actually part of our Epic Essentials for our high schoolers, because it is just a great app that has both the reading comprehension, which was what Tatum was talking about, that eyesight reading. So it opens up just a few words at a time to help increase your reading speed while at the same time monitoring your comprehension. And then it also has a lot of vocabulary built in, which is great for ACT, SAT prep for those high school students.
Well, and another feature that I love specifically is the open and closed circles, where it's kind of helping discern between different letters as a student is reading as well. And I know that this has done a lot for Tatum's dyslexia. As a matter of fact, when we started using it, Reading Plus, they need to be reading third graders to be able to use that app. They're going to struggle really hard if they aren't reading third graders. But when Tatum started using this app, she was about 2 grade levels behind in reading, and we used it very, very specifically and for 2 full years. And I know when she left Epic to go to the brick and mortar up the street, it was the first year she had taken her benchmark test and was on grade level. And that was huge to us. I remember the confidence that she felt. And now, I mean, she went from again, 3rd grade, and we've used her videos a few times because she creates lots of content as well for Epic. But she went from reading those little Bob books and the Calvert readers to before she left, she was in the Harry Potter books. And Tate, what book are you currently reading right now?
I'm reading the first Twilight in the Twilight series. I really like it so far.
Good. And that is coming from somebody who hated reading. I don't know if you saw my eye flutter right there, but it was like hated reading. So the apps that we have, and I know Mindplay does a lot for dyslexia too. It was written by somebody who their kiddo was dyslexic or is dyslexic. So that's huge. The Myon app as well. And I see Serena Watson says, my son loves Myon. This is great. Myon is an app. It's like going to the library and checking out a book. They don't have some of the super popular, especially new release books in there, but a student can take an interest survey and it will feed books to them based on those interests so that they're only really seeing the genres that they love. And then they can take tests within there as well, comprehension tests. What do you know about the Myon app, Miss Brickman?
Yeah, that it's great. Like you said, there aren't always the latest titles on them, but a lot of our AR books link to the Myon platform. So if your student's using AR, Accelerated Reader, Myon's a great app for you to be utilizing. That way you don't always have to have that paper copy with you. And then there's also the Accelerated Reader list on their website through Scholastic that you could also help kind of guide you to see what books your students would be prepared to read or would be in their like style level or their grade level. And then you can use that also to search Myon for specific books. So really any of our apps that have options are great because I think, when we're in virtual, especially in the current time that we're in, we can't always, or we aren't always able to get to the library, get to Barnes and Noble. And so having as many options online or on an app that allows our students to be reading and have that student choice. I think that's really the main part of apps like Myon and Hoopla. It allows the student to choose the book that they're reading because we know if you're a struggling reader and your teacher's forcing you to read a book, you're maybe not going to be the most enthusiastic about it. But if at the end of that assignment, because you need to read the book for the assignment, you get to choose your next book that you do for maybe a book project, just something fun and easy, or a book report or a book talk, the teacher can let you choose a book, and that way we can engage our students and hopefully make those lifelong learners and those lifelong readers by allowing them early on choice in their book selection. And Myon and Hoopla and apps like that really help enable that at a young age.
Yes, absolutely. I remember another app we used. It was not an app, it was a website, but it was Extra Math. And Extra Math is one that you've got to go through the addition problems first, and then you get opened up into the world of subtraction. And once you've completed subtraction, you go into multiplication. And it's one of those programs that what it's doing is it's trying to make those problems automatic for your brain. A lot of times when kids struggle with multiplication early on, by the time they get to 5th grade, when we've got fractions, decimals, and percents coming at us really heavily, if the kids don't have those automatic multiplication, addition, subtraction there, they've got 2-step problems that should really just be 1-step problems. When you're reducing fractions and such, if you can see that, it would be better to reduce by 7 because 7 goes into both of these, then you take out extra steps. And if you just don't have those facts super memorized and on the back of your head, then a lot of times single step problems in 5th grade and up become way more difficult because they're having to solve for the multiplication before they can actually do the problem. And so big brains is another one that you learn your addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division problems through gameplay. And that one's super fun. It really is a game. You've got to download it, so you can't do that one on a Chromebook. But if you've got a hard drive on your computer, you can download Big Brains and be playing a game and move through this castle as a dinosaur. And it's super fun also. And I know Tatum's played that one as well. But knowing those facts at an early age makes the math you do later in life so much easier. And shoot, if you don't have the facts, it's harder to do fractions, decimals, and percents. If you don't have fractions, decimals, and percents, I mean, algebra becomes 3-step problems before you even get to the math. And so these little apps that we're suggesting and offering through the spreadsheet, it makes things a little more automatic so that the problems aren't as difficult. And that's another reason why iExcel is a great addition to either Khan Academy or teaching textbooks or the core curriculum, because you'll learn it in the core curriculum, but maybe you only spent about 30 minutes on that math lesson. 30 minutes is not enough practice to be able to move on to the next concept. But a lot of times these curriculum providers have written this to supplement a classroom. So when we're using it as our core curriculum, you may have been introduced to fractions for only 30 minutes, and then you do your 10-question quiz, and then it's going to move into adding and subtracting fractions. But that's really a lot to do, and using something like iExcel to supplement and make that practice it is really helpful and really necessary. We've got Serena has said, I've added accelerated reader to my kiddo's weekly assignment list. It's nice to see that he's retaining the information he reads from the books. And so true, Serena. That is exactly what we use AR for as well. Lex says, why does Play-Doh always lag and hardly let the kids sign in? Lex, I'm not sure. Some of this has technology hardware issues. Some of it's going to be technology internet issues. And then some of it is going to depend on whether you're signing in through Clever or not through Clever. Nathan, we've got a couple of last minute questions coming through. Nathan says, have you heard of anyone else coming across curriculum when the curriculum randomly changed the assignment and due dates or adds assignments midweek? We've had both of these occur. One occurrence, it added an assignment at the end of the week. Let me click see more. Another was due at the beginning of the week. I write out every assignment per week. And so, Nathan, I can see where this is going. Yes. I mean, these curriculum providers, they don't try to really just mess up every kid. But sometimes they're like, oh, we could write another lesson to supplement the last lesson, and then they add it in. Khan Academy is actually huge about adding content all the time. And if you get in there, I mean, 3 years ago, it was a math curriculum only. Now you can learn science and grammar and social studies. I know that there's a podcast crew, a couple of different podcast crews, but one of them in particular is using the U.S. history that Khan Academy built. But they'll do a lesson and they'll go back in and say, oh, wait, we skipped a whole section. And it's not that they skipped it. It's just that Khan Academy has added content because they feel it's necessary, and it tells a more complete story. So I hope that helps. Nathan, it's not super encouraging to a kiddo when their curriculum moves backwards in percentage complete, but it does make a more full and rounded student. So I hope that helps. Guys, that's all the time we have for today. Madison, Tatum, thank you so much for being here and helping to answer the questions that our parents and the world of EPIC have. You've been great, and I appreciate it. Hopefully you come back again someday. Until next time, we just super appreciate you guys. Thank you for making EPIC the top place to work and the top place to learn.